Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. Jacalyn. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. Jacalyn at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello and welcome. Hopefully it's welcome back to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK, the President, Founder, and Chief Listening Officer here at our Global Network, where we are so excited for our show today. Our show today is presenting Pet Psychic AMINAH. Please note the new time. This is our new time slot going forward from now into 2023 and through the year. It is Fridays at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, which is noon Pacific Standard Time. And I'm not going to get into what it is in Europe since the times are changing and everything's going to be confusing. So our topic is how to do Halloween with and around your pets. Let's welcome the expert, Pet Psychic AMINAH.
Yay! Oh, I need to get that confetti in the back. Digital, not the real stuff. Man, I'm not
too messy.
Well, and if you have pets, they're going to eat it. And that's bad. Yeah. So if you like vet bills, don't do that no matter what, because it's really dangerous stuff.
Yeah,
anyway,
that's true.
Off of that one. But yeah, we don't think about the things we drop on the floor. There's somebody going to come by to see if that's edible and try it anyway.
So true. I was with my great niece. She's 1. And she's doing some cool things with food, throwing it and whatnot. And the dog's right there. The dog's zooming in to eat up whatever it is.
Well, now see, that's the benefit. As long because we were all assuming that you're feeding your child healthy things.
They are
healthy things, and it's great. It's this, who feeds the dog? Just wait till you feed your kid, then the dog is fed.
So
as long as they're doing happy things, and they are just what people don't realize. It really actually accidentally builds this amazing relationship between the child and the animal, because they look at the child going, that's so cool. There's so much food coming from this new loud thing. And it bridges that relationship based on food. And I can't tell you, I'm sure there's people who've gotten married because of food. And I'm not talking about just chefs.
It's so true.
Why not babies?
I have to say about my family with dogs, it's amazing, AMINAH. They feed the dogs so well. I mean, people food, but blueberries, broccoli, like things that are totally healthy. And the
not
carrots,
the Twinkie, not the cookie.
None of the junk.
Healthy
don't give it.
Things.
And the dogs have beautiful shiny coats.
Yep. And there's that happy blend. Olive oil, you get your good oils. The same thing with our skin, the same thing with our hair. People are missing the boat by using these natural ingredients for their own skin, for their own care, as opposed to going to chemicals. And I'm going to tell you, there's a bag of prunes over on our counter, and it says dried prunes, plums, and the lotion says blah, 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 blah. I don't even know half those words. I'd need a PhD, at least one of them, to figure out the glycinate of something, color number 52. We don't need it. There are ways to get around it.
It's so true. I'm having a coughing attack.
Oh no. All that dog talk, you're swallowing all that fur. Well, just let me know how to ramble on, but I really want to talk about, as we talk about your pets every day, I really want to encourage you to bring in life to your home that is not just people, but plants. Not only will you breathe better, that's just the general benefit of having plants, but it's also, if you're not into gardening, I understand that, but try something organic besides going for a walk. And what I'm talking about is I happen to case a couple of the garden stores with their half dead plants because I love the challenge of bringing them back, but I also want to bring life into my everyday. So we're gonna talk about animals always, but I'm always going to share with you other ways to bring life and fun and doing it different. I'm a famous dollar store hunter, and right now I'm working on an article because I don't have a yard. I am in a condo now, and I have stairways. I have a lot of stairs that get up to our front door. And then there's a decent amount of space where you could put a bench or something. I didn't. I put a ton of plants. So what I do is I save the plants. I go and get the ones that are half dead or on clearance because they didn't water them. That's why they're half dead. And I really love the science of bringing them back. I understanding how to trim. A lot of this I learned in buying my first house 25 years ago and killing a lot of things and just figuring it out, reading a lot of books, finding out. Now you can go on YouTube. Now you can listen to people like me who've done this. But I want to show you my first specimen. I don't know if you see this.
Oh, yes. What kind of
Did
plant
you see
is that?
the button baby pansies?
I do see that.
Are they
Beautiful.
adorable?
Wow.
Look at this little. See, and I spread them out all over this plant, which I don't remember what it's called, but it has a white flower that's coming. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And all of this was on death row. So this green plant was half dead when I got it, and I've only had it 4 weeks. 4 weeks.
Wow. You have the green thumb.
I got the plot from Lowe's, from a hardware store. I got the plot on clearance, and it was supposed to go with some kind of setup and fancy thing that the plants they were selling just dropped in. And so this pot somehow got off to its own and nobody wanted it, but it's beautiful. I don't know if you guys can see. Look at this pattern. And it's not a big one. I got a little saucer on the bottom so I don't overwater it and ruin my woodwork because it is by a wood shelf. But let's see. Hopefully what I see you guys can see and I can stay out of the picture. So I took 4 different, now these little pansies are called buttons or something like that. But I took 4 or 5 different colors and I put them around and put them in the water. And I have been working with my kitties to leave them alone. Because they see these beautiful little flowers bouncing around and they're like, oh, let's get them. First of all, it's not safe for them to chew on any kind of thing that you have any idea what might happen. Because just like people, and we're talking about Halloween. I'm getting into this lane of candy is pretty understood not for animals. But what about your plants? What about the costumes that the kids are going to wear? I highly suggest that you have been having your kids prance around in parts of their costume because it can really frighten some animals. They're like, what the heck is that and why? Because a lot of little kids will get very excited about their ghost costume or their fairy wand or the crown they're wearing, whatever parts. Just imagine if you're a mummy and you're all wrapped up in something and they're like, what the heck happened? If you make it part of the everyday, like if you're lucky enough to have the ability and or the family member to make the costume, then the fabric's always around. You have it in the sewing room or you're trying it on. Have the kids wear the costume a few times, even in parts around the cat or dog, because you don't want them to, especially the dogs, especially if they go with you. And that's not a problem. You've got to train for the event. Imagine Candy Olympics. I don't know if someone will call it. And you need to have them broken into a lot of people walking around, and it's nothing compared to 5 years ago or 10 years ago. I'm sure we hardly ever get kids knocking on our doors anymore. but plan for it, because what's the worst? Your dog does really great in public, and he can do, or she can do really great visiting a stranger, but they're with you. And then you're going to be the pack leader and decide how strong your energy is going to be to say, no, no, this plan is safe. Now, I have 3 cats. One of them specifically is always getting into trouble. She's far too smart for her own little furry coat, and she needs activities. She needs cognitive stimulation. So she is not the type of cat that will do well on a leash. We have tried it. We've tried a harness. She did not do that. But she wants to know things. She wants to see things. She's always dodging for the doors or looking to see what I'm doing on the patio. So bringing the flowers in was a risk and a trust growth, because I had to make sure that she didn't eat these things or chew on them. And she just thinks these leaves are the bee's knees to play with. So I started off with this little one, and it now resides in my bedroom up on a beautiful counter, because I have a full light up there also, and this plant will do well. But it can only now go up there because I've soundproofed her. Is it 100%? No, we all have bad days. We all have curious days. So I know at some point there could be dirt all over the ground. What I most would hate, of course, is the plants getting ruined or actually killing them. I'm not worried about ruined. I bought them and they were already secondhand. What I don't want is my pets to get sick because they chewed on it. It's the same with candy. It's the same with Halloween or Christmas or anything like that. You want to make sure they're safe. So I had to literally take this pot up and down the stairs wherever I was, so that the plant would get enough sun during the day, but also that it was monitored. Now that was over 2.5 weeks ago, at least. It didn't take much time because she got really used to, I let her smell the leaves in my presence. I let her see, never play with the flowers. That wasn't something, oh, let's just let them play with it once. No, if you do it once is going to be all the time. And I made sure the plant also adjusted to the filtered light it was going to get, not the direct sunlight. Everything has a plan. Everything has a plan. All you need to do is you have a plan. So we're going to talk about Halloween the same way. Your costumes should be tried on at least a couple of times beforehand, just for fun. Who cares about that? And pictures and grandma or whatever. I hate to see kids only wearing them for one day and then we put them away, and then the next year they've grown out of them. Have fun with it. But in that way, you need to have your animals prepared for your kids walking around with a bag on their head and they only hear their voice and they're like, well, what's going on? It's all about you and the family showing your animals that you have confidence in what's happening. Baby steps. Remember baby steps. If they're afraid, that's okay. Remember, I have 3 cats currently. One is incredibly shy. We have had her for 15 years. She's still ducking from everybody because she's shy. And Dr. Jacalyn, we've lived long enough. We've met plenty of people who are very, very gregarious and very shy and very everything in the middle. And some people just don't care and they don't want to talk to anybody. And they have no problems with the way they move through the world. I want you to love your pets for who they are, not who you need them to be. If you need your pet to be something or someone, you either got the wrong pet if it's not working after a year or so, or your training needs to be corrected, or something. Not every animal can be a guide dog. Ask anybody who's had a therapy dog or a guide dog or a big dog or a little bitty dog. It just depends on where you are in your life and what works. Now you had 2, 3?
3.
Lots. 3.
My little 3. They all They all passed away.
Aren't they adorable? But
They
you
are.
found it, everything you've said to me is you found the right breed. And now these were siblings, right? These are litter mates.
No, actually they weren't related. No, they
Oh,
were not related.
I mean, the look is perfect. It's
I know
absolutely perfect. But dogs will become their own pack, and they'll be their own pack with you and your leadership. But you have to decide, if I'm going to get a double coat dog, which I've had, shepherds and all that kind of stuff, I'm going to do a lot of brushing. If you want a dog that knocks over everything on your coffee table, every end table, everywhere, get a Saint Bernard, a Great Dane. Man, a Great Dane's tail. Saint Bernard has a little more fluff on the tail, but those other ones, whoosh, it's gone. The shelf is clean. But if you don't know that, and if wherever you're getting these animals, they're not educating you, then you're going to have problems. The same thing is when you go trick-or-treating. Some animals will find it fun and they'll feel the energy of all the little kids if you're in a place where lots of them are out trick-or-treating. Or you'll have, like my one cat, Rin, she's terrified of everybody. So she even keeps her distance from us. And she knows I'm going to squish her every day, all the time. But I always put her away, and I always do it with respect. And I always come up to her very slowly, very, very slowly. That's the deal. I feed you, I clean your back, and you just need to be kissed and hugged a couple times. But I don't scoop her up very often, because that's really hard for her. She feels confined. Now, she was a very sick stray when my daughter adopted her. So you have to take some of that in, and it's never gone away for her. So we really love that all three cats, we currently have totally different personalities, where our black one, Jackson, giant cat, really big cat, not as big as it could be, but he's completely gone all day long. I'll be lucky if I see him once. And it's because where my daughter is, that cat is at all times. It is at her heels, it's at her legs, at her toes, or that it's sitting in a box across from her desk, whatever. As long as he's in her presence, he is very balanced. Now, she can leave the house. There's health in this. So again, we're going to go back to, if you're going to go trick-or-treating and you want to take your dog with you, don't take your cat. Please don't take your cat. Unless you have a Manx, and it's like a dog anyway. So that's a different conversation. You need to practice with your dog.
I have to interrupt because I have a question, because I'm sure people are wondering, do we dress up our pets we do dress up our dogs we're taking with us? Or is that, like you just saw this picture for Christmas? I have my pets. My pets are dressed up. Is that a no-no?
No, absolutely not. But understand the personality and the respect you want to have with this relationship. I would never, ever even attempt to put a bow that I had tape on Rin's head. I just wouldn't do it. It would scare her so much, and it wouldn't be funny. Where if I did it to Emma's our youngest, and she is wicked smart and gets in lots of trouble because she wants to learn and touch and do. Now we've conquered the plant conversation, that thank goodness, without one spilled pot. But I spent a lot of time one-on-one with her. So she would tolerate maybe wearing glasses or a bow. And again, I'd have to go at it slow. And Jackson would absolutely, he's big enough and determined enough. He's like, no, if his mom put it on him, that might be different. But if I did it, no, there's no respect. There's nothing. Know your animal. And obviously, you've got this gorgeous picture. I don't see anybody got hurt in that event. Trick-or-treating, on the other side, can be terrifying. You've got all these people that the animals are like, I smell humans, but they're loud and squeaky, most of them children. You've got parents that not necessarily paying attention 100% with the kids until they're up at the door. So having a dog is okay. You could put them in a costume if you want. A little bow tie. I mean, something really simple for some dogs that just like, that's like a collar and that's as far I'm going to get. Or some of them you get a whole vest on, but don't do it the night before for the first time. It is already too late for this year, possibly depending on the growth and attitude of your pet. If you want them to wear a costume, which a lot of people do, and it's more than a bow collar or something as simple as a fancy lit up leash, those are great, especially as we get into sunset. Now with the smaller children, I don't think hardly anybody still trick or treats after dark. So, and most families don't expect that. So these leashes are great that light up and really, really help people see the kids, the adults, and the pet. Because remember, if a pet's on a leash, there's a distance, and some people don't see that. I'm asking is, if you're not prepared this year, have a plan for next year. Just think of all the things you could plan and train for. So I had trained my animals about the plant. I had to sit with them, literally carry this little plant up and down our stairs. And they realized, okay, mom really means don't touch. Because remember when I showed you this, it's got these great little pansies off here. Isn't that scream, I am a toy? In their world, yes. But this could also kill them, besides kill the plants that I put together and are growing so beautifully. So I don't want any of that to happen. You've got to plan Halloween. Have your kids wear one piece at a time around the pets and the whole outfit at some point. Your kids will love it. And if you haven't gotten a chance to do that, there's time. You're going to have to crash course, but there's probably all kinds of things. Have the costume laying on the couch so the dogs can smell it and go, oh, because it's going to come right out of the package. And then have your kids put on the booties or put on the hat or put on the vest so the dog gets used to it. Sit around and watch TV if you can in the costume so that it becomes, oh, well, it's just kind of funny clothes and we're going to go out and do it. Be sure and have reflectors on your dog or reflectors on the back of your kids' outfits for safety. But only choose a pet that is calm and centered. And only choose that pet if you also can be calm and centered while your children are trick-or-treating. If you can't, please eliminate one or the other. And I mean, don't bring the dog. Because your kids, if that's a Halloween tradition, absolutely go trick-or-treating. What you need to do when you come back, do not let your pets have access to the candy.
All right, I have a question.
It's a killer.
Yeah, great advice. I know some people who on Halloween, in addition to trick-or-treating, they like to go on hay rides and they like to go in the local haunted house and they want to take their pets.
No.
Okay.
How do you plan for that? Do you ask the haunted house people, hey, can I get a pre-tour? I think that defeats the point of the excitement of the night. And let me come at it from the haunted house owner. Nobody usually can tell your dog, okay, let's pee out here, but don't pee in there. And yes, there's trained animals. I'm not saying, remember, nothing I say is always, forever, blah, blah. Blanket statement, large. But even if you pottied your dog 2 seconds before you go into the haunted house, they could have a bowel movement that necessary that you don't know about. How would you feel if you were the one who put on this haunted house? You did all the work, all the excitement, all the boo, scare, music, all of that goes into a haunted house or a haunted lane. Who cares how much work goes into that? And then somebody's dog got into a fight, got scared and ran away and tore things down accidentally, went to the restroom anywhere, in front, at the end, in the middle of your haunted house, how would you feel? I want you to be in somebody else's shoes. Don't do what you wouldn't want somebody else to do. And you cannot absolutely say, oh, I'm going to have them go potty before we go. That's great. Can you make sure they don't need to have a bowel movement that you couldn't have planned for? Urination, maybe. But you could really ruin Halloween for somebody who has gone to a great deal of work and energy and passion for the holiday by just one careless act of not realizing your dog needed to go to the bathroom and went before you could catch it. There's not enough paper towels to fix the hurt by whoever, your neighbor, your friend, the school. It's not the right place for it. There are plenty of places we can take our pets. Sometimes it's better not to.
Thank you so much. I do have a follow-up question to that. What if someone says, I push my dog in a little stroller all the time. I want to decorate the stroller with all kinds of flashing lights and maybe some little noises, and I'll put my little love bug in a costume in the carriage and take this around to all the homes.
I think it's great if you back up to what I already said. Practice, exposure, practice, exposure. What does the animal expect, tolerate, and or allow? I've seen some clothes on some of these animals, and I'm thinking,
yes.
And the animal, and people have to realize, I'm not just looking at it as a trainer, as a human walking around. I'm listening to their voice, and some of them are like, "This is so cool! I'm so cool! Everybody talks to me, just like." Just like people. Some are really gregarious and want that attention. And a lot of times their owners are just like that. And then some are like Myron, who was like, no, hell's going to freeze over before you even get that costume in the house, much less near me. Using my cat's example, even if I tried to put one of those little Velcro or sticky bows, not even on her ear, but just on her fur, she would freak out, roll all over the place to get that thing off of her at the detriment of her safety. You know, if she was on the bed when I put it on, she would jump off. She would run. She'd run into the wheels, tires. First and foremost, respect your animal enough to say, yeah, this would be cool, but I needed to start last year to train for this year. And remember what I said, what happens if you have the best clown bow on the planet for your Burmese mountain dog? If you know what this breed is, it's giant and it's fluffy. St. Bernard, any of those big giant floods, and you're going to get those big giant clown, bows. It would be hilarious. I would be dying and laughing with everybody. Don't you think that might take a few months of you putting it on, nothing happening, they scratching it off, they pulling it off, and you getting out a treat when they leave it alone and go, oh, you're so cute. Find the right animal costume for the personality that you have. Not all of this is about us. It should never be about us. We should be the team. Does your cat, ferret, snake, gopher, hopefully you don't have any of those, are not legal, any of your pets will tolerate and or even feel safe, will not choke themselves? Because the worst scenario is, okay, you've got an animal fully decked out, you're having a great time, and then something scares them, and you can't plan for everything. You just can't. Same thing with your children. It's going great, everybody's laughing and everybody's going fun, and all of a sudden you've got your 10-year-old crying, dying to go home, and the other 5 children you're with are having a swell time. What are you going to do? As a parent, you know your kid, you can make some choices. These are the things you have to start thinking about. Okay, what could go wrong? Sometimes taking the costume off is the most expedient, safe thing to do for whichever one you're dealing with, your child or the animal. It's more important to have safety and the dog is not running away from you to try to get the costume off and ends up in the street and tragedy happens because you wanted to leave the costume on. So I want you to think about 1 + 1 still equals 2. But what happens if a negative point, some other mathematical equation comes into play? What happens if there's another dog there? And the costume is so restrictive feeling that your dog feels like it cannot protect its family. So it starts to go after its costume. It starts to go after people, go after other animals. These are all the things you need to soundproof. Now we have a couple of days. Please take your animals out in their costumes. Let them wear them around in the house. If they don't survive that, maybe this isn't the year to do that, or this isn't the animal to do that with. Always, always try to put your costume on also if you're going to wear one, your children's costume, so your animals see it ahead of time. Not the half hour before, days. Your kids will love it to be able to prance around in their ballerina costume with the fairy stick. And remember, no hitting the dogs with the fairy sticks or the canes or any of that. Because what does that say, Dr. Jacalyn? What does a cane or a fairy stick that gets smacked on the dog's back or his ears or whatever? What do you think that feels like?
That's cruel.
And it's corporal punishment.
Yeah,
it's corporal punishment. So if I went around, like right now you're wearing a beautiful set, what I assume is pearls. Mm-hmm. And they're just breathtaking. But what if you decided, we all get bored. Sometimes you're at a meeting, it's really boring and your necklace got tangled. So you take it off and you start fiddling with it. What happens if you started swinging it around? You're going to be lassoing all of us and you start smacking us because it's fun. We're talking about children or adults who still think they have a right to act like that. We've met people, boys that are like 45 and they got a rubber band and they're shooting it at you and you're like, how old are you?
Yes, not acceptable.
Exactly. So if you're going to do this kind of stuff with your animals, they just look at it as discipline. And that's not a relationship anybody wants. You don't want to have a strap around their neck that they could choke on, or something that they like has a tissue paper type fabric, if you want to call it material, that's the word. And they take it off and they shred it. Might be a clue how they feel about it. But what happens if the dye on it gives them an allergic reaction? What happens when they swallow a piece? Let's say, you find all the ribbon, there's a piece missing. That could be a very, very expensive vet visit with an exploratory look into their intestines. So I want you to see this action could be this. I'm not being fear-mongering. Somebody's going to be out there and say, oh, you're just worried about too much. I'm asking you to logically think about what's the worst that could happen and how am I prepared? This is why I am also a trained first responder, because my personality can see that. I can see that if I want to have flowers and pots in my room, I've got to soundproof my animals from realizing this is a hands-off. I've got other things in my room that are glass lamps or whatever, or important papers that I'm reading through. I don't want them chewing on those either. So it won't be the first time I've said no, but I also do it with balance and a reason. They usually can see it. The harder ones to learn are the ones that are so out of their scope. Like, why can't I get up there? I can get up everywhere else. We have windows that are, 3-4 feet off the ground. So the cats love looking out the windows. So guess what? I put enough furniture and chairs and stable things. There's a hook chest at the window in front of me so that the cats can get up there and look all they want about what's going on in the back. I'm just saying, accommodate for the behavior you want and be prepared to prevent the one you don't. Saving lives is really important for 4th of July and Halloween specifically. This is what we're talking about, is saving your life, saving your pet's life, and acknowledging they have a right to not like the same things you do.
I agree with everything that you're saying here. I feel like you've been giving a lot of really important, valuable information. I love the fact that you're sharing. Don't just wake up on Monday and go, hey, everybody, this is what's going to happen. Prepare for it. Take some necessary steps. And I think something that also is important, it is a very special day for some people. I know people go crazy about Halloween. If I walk around the neighborhood, some people have gone above and beyond.
Yep.
It is just one day, right? It is one day. And if it's not working out the way you'd like with your pet, it's okay, right? You can come up with an alternative, but I think safety and compassion and empathy are really the priorities here.
Yep. And you put it all in a nutshell. If you have a pet, I'm assuming you love having a pet, because otherwise you should rehome them if this isn't a love relationship, because that's what they're expecting. If you have children, they're challenging humans, but we also work through those, or we go to therapy and help have somebody else work. But that's why you're talking to someone like me or another trainer or another expert. And that's exactly why I always talk about and share your show so many times and say, okay, she's covered this with this expert. You might want to hear that new voice, not the one that, well, my neighbor said. Neighbors are great. And they say a lot of things, not all necessarily good for you. Their life might be different than ours. You don't know, and there's no reason to judge. So I'm saying is, look at your animals the same way. Everybody's going to say all dogs do this. No. There's no all, everybody, everything. There isn't. Their experience, their parentage, their adoption, their way they go through life. No matter how much love and support and patience I give to Ren, she's still shy. She's still shy. Is that bad? No, but it's a lot more work. If I don't feel like having the patience, I have plenty of days where I don't have enough patience for it. Then I kind of steer clear of her, but I love her to death. So it's easy to accommodate her because I truly love who she is. And I truly believe she makes me a better person, because any interaction with her, any, I have to slow my energy down. I have to slow how I speak. And I can get pretty high strung, especially about things I'm excited about. But with Emma, the other wild child here in the family, she's all in. She's all in. But she has all that energy. So I have done what I never thought I'd do. And I got a stroller, a cat stroller. Even though she's high energies and she's incredibly curious, she struggles in the stroller. She feels out of control. So we just go a couple of blocks every couple of 6 months or so. There's no agenda. I don't have an agenda. What I'm asking everybody is, don't have an agenda. Be prepared for the worst, hope for the best, and train for teamwork, because most likely you're going to take your dogs. Some people can take their cats, and maybe it's in the stroller and you're trained to the stroller. That's great. How do you get trained to stroller? We'll deal with that in another episode, because everything takes time. You still have time, but if you're going to dress them up, please already have tried on the outfits, because there's certain things, booties on animals, really tough, because they're all about feeling the ground, feeling the texture, feeling where they are. You want to know if there's an earthquake coming? Check on your dog, check on your cat. They can feel it in the ground way before we can. and we haven't even touched a lot on, but it's so, so vital. No candy. No candy. Not a taste, not a lick, nothing. You don't need me or a vet to stress it any more simply. Keep the candy, candles, matches, whatever, away from your pets.
Okay, I think that is a great way to close out the show today. I was trying to think if there's anything else we need to cover, but I think you've pretty much hit everything. And of course, obviously, the big one is not to feed your pets the candy, because candy's not even good for us, folks. I mean,
Well, it's
sugar,
crap. It's color, dye, and sugar.
it's a major cause of inflammation in people's bodies. Please don't give it to your pets. And you can
Thank
actually
you.
kill your dog by giving it chocolate. I think so.
Yes.
Yeah. So stay away and enjoy the day. If you're going to go out trick-or-treating with your family, friends, kids, by yourself, with your animals, just enjoy it. Be smart. Amina gave so many great points here. Thank you. And as always, how can people reach out to hire you? How can people follow you on Facebook? Tell us that information if you would, please.
Everything. I try to put it in one quick stop. bridgingworlds.us. BRIDGINGWORLDS.us. Everything, all my social media, all the videos from the US Global TV that I'm on, all of this is in one spot. You'll find the links, you'll find clips. And Facebook, it's all fun and games and a little bit of learning. I just don't know how not to share that, because if you truly love animals, and that's what I'm doing, I have a responsibility for the God-given gifts I've been given and all the training I have been blessed to go through, and all the wild animals that I have worked with that didn't want to be in captivity, to pass on that knowledge so we all can do better. It's free, and I give it away gladly.
Well, bless you, my dear friend. Thank you so much. It's been another fabulous episode here at USA Global TV and Radio. And for those of you who aren't aware, I don't know where you've been, but maybe you're new to us. Welcome.
Yeah.
You can find all of our episodes over on our YouTube channel, which is USA Global TV and Radio. Look for the playlist, Pet Psychic Amina, and you can find all of the wonderful information and education that she shares with us. So we are signing off. This is our last show for the week. We will be back next week. So I wish everyone a wonderful Halloween, happy and healthy. Remember what Amina shared today, and she and I will be back next week.
Have a great
Thank you,
weekend.
everybody. Have a great weekend. Bye, everyone. Bye, Amina.